our year of triple, triple. And at that point, we just embrace it. We say, amen. We do everything we're supposed to do. But by the time it is February, March, something start happening that we can't explain, and we just discover that things are not just going. And before you know it, dissonance starts setting in, you start becoming uncomfortable, and so that you will not come and go and kill yourself. You just decide to just leave it, to say, well, I cannot come and kill myself. Let me just continue the way I've been living my life. And we keep having the same results. We keep doing the same thing. And of course, we'll have the same results. And some of us are where we are because we don't really know how to do it. And like I said, praise has a different template that I know that you have used, you have employed, and it has given you results. I still remember 2 days ago, you're still telling me, results, you just keep having everything just falling in line. And people want to look at you like, how is she doing it? Not knowing that she has set the ball rolling. She has seen the end from the beginning. So Aya, welcome. I yield the mic to you, and please tell us about yourself. And after that, you introduce praise, and you continue with the conversation. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ebon, for having me this evening. And I'm so excited to be here. It's one of the things I love to share. I was still speaking with a group of women earlier this morning, and I was telling them that one of the things I detest is when you are asked, how did you do it? And you tell people, it is the grace of God. I so much detest it. In as much as I know the grace of God is there are some things you did, and you must be able to put these things down so that others can replicate the same thing. And that is what PF has done. And it has, shared it with quite a number of people whom I'm privileged to be a part of them. And daily, I see it work. Daily, I see it work. I could remember I did my goal scoring in 2020 January. And before then, I'd always set goals. I can actually show you a folder on my system that has the goal from 2003. And trust me, the same goals were being carried over. I was just changing the dates on the Word document. So if you look at 2003 to 2019, you will see the same things showing up. But I kept doing it. But in 2019, I told myself, I am done. That when I'm going to, for the 31st, the crossover, I'm going there with my hands raised up. I am tired of doing the same thing, the same way, and expecting a different result. They say it is insanity, it is madness, and I'm done with this madness. And when I heard that the masterclass was going to hold, that was what I did. So the 31st, I just went to church and I raised my hand. I said, Lord, I'm doing nothing until I'm done with this masterclass. And that was it for me. So I went into the masterclass hungry. But before then, because I'd had a encounter with PF under the Family Systems Engineering, certification and all, I was already doing some other things. So the hunger now tripled when I heard there was a masterclass that would help me to be able to begin to score my goals. And that was when I went. And for me, again, the 3 days I cried. When I'm overwhelmed with, what have I been doing all these years? The next thing I do is just to cry. So I practically cried the 3 days because I saw how I have been, just wasting time. I saw how I have been busy doing nothing. How I have so much filled my life with things that were important and useful for other people, but for me, weren't important. And it was from that event I brought out my axe and I started cutting all the cuttables. And for me, because I'm a Christian, of the Christian faith, I found out that the place that was really, really so, that was really taking so much of my time was actually doing things in church, doing things, that has to do with spiritual things. Don't get me wrong, people. I am for you serving God, but you have to be sure that what you're doing is what you are supposed to be doing. Ayo was in one prayer band, one prayer meeting. I was always, on Zoom. I was always moving from one Zoom meeting to the other and just joining one meeting to the other. And I was very unhappy. I was so unfulfilled. I was hiding behind those meetings. My life was just full of things that weren't moving me forward. I just wanted to fill my life with something. And when I did the goal scoring masterclass, I just brought out my axe. I was brutal. I was ruthless. That was it. And I began to look at those places that I had so much, put in energy. I now streamlined to where I knew would take me to where I really wanted to go to. And that for me was a game changer. And there was one thing that, helped me again: consequences. If I don't do this, what is the consequence? I never had any goal setting, masterclass or training or whatever that imputed consequence to everything. And that for me was it. By the time I began to put the consequence of not doing a particular thing, down, I knew I had no choice. And it took a while. It wasn't that immediately, I began to see, the change and all. But I began to see the change in my life. I had to put a routine in place. I had to do so many things differently. I had to mind, how I sleep, how I wake up. And, at some point, my husband was just looking at me. Because when I wake up, I just tell myself, the queen is awake, ready to be a blessing to our world today. I'm so excited at the dawn of today. And he'll be like, okay, she's awake. Indeed, she's awake. I just had to change everything around me. And in no time, I began to see the difference. I began to read wide. I began to read far. I could remember part of the, assignment that PF gave us then was to read The Science of Getting Rich. We were to read it for 30 days. I read mine for 63 days. I read it 60 times, 63 days. And by the time I was done, I knew a lot of things had changed. I could remember in particular that I was so tired. And I called Pierre, I said, Pierre, I've not read my book today. And he said something, he said, Ayo, professionals do daily what amateurs do once in a while. He didn't say much than that. I just said, I've heard. That was around past 11 in the evening. I just sat up on my bed and I read that book. And I'll see it the following day. And the truth is, it is undeniable. There were so many books he gave us to read. And, another one that really impacted me is Feeling is a Secret. That one is just amazing. It's amazing. You begin to live the life you want before it happens. Imputing gratitude, making it a lifestyle, journaling. It's just mind-blowing. I think I should just yield the floor to PM, to take it up from there. I'm sure he will still ask me some questions as I ask him some questions as well. But it's just been amazing. It's been a beautiful journey. And I'm so grateful. Yes, there have been times, I felt down. And that is the place of a coach. You need someone who has the time for you. You need someone who can hold your hands. Whoever is your coach and has too many people and does not have your time, please reconsider. Fire your coach and get someone else. That is one thing I found out with PF. I'm one of those people that has disturbed and troubled his life the past 3 years. Hardly a day we don't communicate. Maybe an hello there, how are you, boss? And it's just been amazing. And I'm one grateful soul. And I believe that as each and every one of us also, begin to use the methodology, you will. It is, if you follow it, it is true. It works. I can tell you, it works. It works. It works. Is it the incantation? It works. It works. It works. Thank you so much, Evo. I think I should just introduce PF and we take it up from there. Wow, it's a privilege to be able to welcome PF. Yeah. So I have his profile here. PF, I'm going to read everything today. I'm not going to abridge anything. I have the mic and I'm not going to abridge it. Yes. So
no, I don't like profile.
I know, but today I want to. Maybe I have the mic. Fowowe is an unconventional thinker, futurist, and Africa's premier creator and trainer of family systems engineering, a body of knowledge that assists families build systems that support their happiness. As the principal consultant of Fowowe International LLC, Dallas, USA, and founder of Center for Sex Education and Family Life, he is an internationally acclaimed sexuality education strategist and a family life therapist. He is credited and regarded as the foremost sexuality educator and strategist to have come out of Africa, a highly innovative strategist blessed with original insights in relationships that have been applauded all over the continent as one of the most effective when it comes to family life and sexual abuse prevention issues. With over 2 decades experience in handling family life issues all over Nigeria, Praise is one of the best and few go-to persons who would ever listen on family life, sexuality, and workplace relationships. He is an authority in the field of the frame of reference for many. He has developed several life-changing contents in his quest to rid this continent of the world of sex predators and pedophiles. And through his work, homes and thousands of lives have been restored to their healthy, sane state. I am one of them. As a sexuality education strategist, Praise has created what is regarded as the most complete sexuality education kit for families and schools in Nigeria for prevention of child sexual abuse, and his latest Child Power Challenge, which is a 52-week course that empowers every child against predators, presently runs in 4 continents. As a trainer and disruptive thinker, Praise has facilitated personal effectiveness and superior relationship skills sessions for some of the best brands in the country. He has implemented basic sexuality education for several schools, government agencies, and religious bodies in Nigeria. His original and effective thoughts on relationships have helped several couples handle marriage and parenting better. As Africa's premier trainer of family systems engineering certification program, Praise assists stakeholders with tools and strategies that help them accurately diagnose marital issues and resolve them within the shortest possible time. His family systems engineering certification program is now regarded as the most effective family life program for family life coaches and therapists. It consults for various sectors in the Nigerian economy, educational, oil and gas, banking, and government agencies. He also sits on the board of a number of companies. Praise is a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming and a choice trainer and facilitator at conferences. Praise believes the problem of the world, is an adult, and solution to that problem is a child. He is happily married to Tosin, one of the nation's finest family finance experts, and they are blessed with David and Caris. They just left my house some few minutes ago. It's such a privilege to have you here, Praise. Thank you so much for obliging us.
I've committed the greatest crime anyone could commit against me, which is reading my profile. That profile was like 10-year-old profile, kind of. I don't like when people read it. I believe we come to I think profile is overrated. Yes, it helps you know what someone has done, but I think it's not as important as what we need to do for people. So that time that you spent to read profile, we could have answered one.
It's okay. I wanted to satisfy myself today.
It's okay.
Wow. Thank you so much for choosing to be here today. And I have quite a number of questions for you. My first question this evening is, in your journey, in your career, what do you see as the reason why people don't set goals, or set goals and don't score it?
Thank you very much, Ayo. And your life is a testimony. I said it to you personally when we were talking during the week. I'm not sure Ayo has done a day without talking to me in 3 years. All right. I'm not sure it has ever, except I shut down my phone and she can't reach me. Even if I do that, she manages to, she still, and that's the thing that I always say to people, that if you have access, maximize the access, right? She knows how to maximize access. Now, coming to the question, I think that a lot of us grew up in an environment where we did not see people set goals. One of the things that will happen to you as an African is that you don't even believe goals can be accomplished, because you have seen your government when you were younger. They say the future, we are leaders of tomorrow. Now, some of us have become adults, we are still not leaders of tomorrow. You have seen them say food for all by year 2000, housing for all by 2000. So every vision that your role models, which is the presidency or the leadership of the nation, everything they promise, they've not done. So, and also you now have parents who promise children stuff and they don't deliver, right? And so people are consistently used to being disappointed. So they do not subliminally believe that anything can be accomplished. Now, to cap it all, you are now in the place of faith where you are told, oh, write your goals, lift it up to God. God is going to do it. This year is your year. And people have spent 20 years of their life hearing this is your year. They've been totally disappointed. Now, if I were to be like them, and I also used to be that way, there would be no reason to set any goals, because you are asking yourself, are you just doing a ritual because you're doing a ritual, or because you believe that there is this thing that can be done? Now, let's not forget that Africa is a mystery and miraculous driven society, where what should be given to thinking, we abdicate it to God. So our people naturally do not even believe they can see the next year. So they believe it takes a supernatural effort for them to cross over to the new year. That's why Ember month is a big deal in Africa. That's why 11th month, God of last minute, what God cannot do in January, He cannot do it by November, last minute, He can do it, right? Those things are a big deal with us. And there's a place for them. But you realize that we are not methodical. So in accounting, they taught us that for every corresponding, for every debit and credit entry, there must be a corresponding credit entry, kind of. Right. So literally, garbage in must lead to garbage out. It's a computer language. We are not used to those things. So if you live in an environment where things as basic as power is abdicated to God, God will bring power. God will cause rain to fall. Where basic things like leadership, basic things like building a house, are things that you trust God to do. There is no way you are going to totally believe in your goals, because for you to score a goal, you need to believe that you need to plan as if there is no God, and you need to believe in God as if there is no plan. So that has to be the balance, right? And so when you have grown up in an environment, or you have been with people who don't have a 10-year plan, who don't have a 20-year plan, who have never told you anything that is going to happen and it has happened, right? There is no way you're going to be able to, master how to set goals. And then templates is not shared. Like you rightly said, before now, I also belong to that space where I will ask my leaders, how did you do it? Oh, it's God's grace. It's God's grace. Okay, how is this grace not working for me? So you realize that we don't share trade secrets as Africans. So because we don't share trade secrets, because our bigness is dependent on the smallness of our followers. So we share things that makes them perpetually become hooked to us, look up to us, believe they can't survive without us. And that's why I keep saying that the most dangerous person in your life is the person that speaks into your life at least 3 times every week. That person can manipulate you, can turn you to anything if care is not taken. Now, so when you have all these variables around you, you realize that even when people say they are setting goals, it's just to fulfill righteousness, not because they really believe in the goal. Now, that's one. Two, a lot of people set goals, but they don't know how to attract their goals. So, which is the working of your mind, because the mind is not taught in Africa, right? We're taught spirituality, the spirit is taught. Now we are teaching physical, your body, but we don't teach on the mind. And we do not know that the mind is so powerful that you can attract. I mean, before I came on the call, there's a lady I was working with who has consistently failed an exam, and a certification exam in America, right? And so 2 weeks ago, we started working. I mean, she's undergoing our alien program. And so she said to me, Praise, I've consistently failed this, So we got to that point where we're talking about imagination and your thoughts, right? And so literally, I taught her how to utilize her thought and her imagination to attract what she wanted, which is passing the exam. And so she said to me, President, the fear comes, but then I superimpose what you've taught me in my mind. Before I came in, she called me, and she said, President, I'm on my way to your house because I passed the exam. Now, so people have not been taught how to attract. It's a symbol of attraction, that wherever you are today and the quality of life you're living is a function of your thought life, is a function of the pictures you see in your mind. And no prayer, no miracle can help you beyond what you see. That's why they say that you cannot travel within and stand still without. But many of us don't travel within. So people don't know how to attract their goals. Number 3, there are no consequences for not achieving their goals. So I always ask people that if the consequence for not achieving your goal is the fact that 1,000 people that you love will die, what will you do differently? Then you realize that people find a way to do it. So people will tell you, I am an intro. I even hate that thing when people say it now. I don't like to meet people. I don't like to talk to people. Then you are not ready to eat. You are not ready to live, And what they are saying that they are not saying is that I hate shame. I hate rejection. That's what they're actually saying. So to hide that, they will now say, I don't like people. I don't like missing people and blah, 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 blah. So people who, so that's number 3. Number 4, so there's no consequence basically for not scoring their goal. So they are not disappointed. And we say that blessed are those who have no expectation, for they shall not be disappointed. Right. So, and the last one I'll talk about is the fact that people don't do self-audit to look at the mechanism around their lives. So a lot of people, so someone says, my financial goal is 10 million. Let's say 10 million or 20 million naira in 2023, right? And I say, can you write 10 closest people to you on a sheet of paper and tell me how many of them have seen that amount before? Then they write the closest people to them, 11 people, and maybe 5 others, making 16. And there is nobody on the entire name who has seen that kind of money. There is no way. You are not good, because your action has contradicted what you wanted. And because you're emotionally connected and emotionally invested to these people, you are too emotional to let them go and let new people into your life. And that's why you see people keep the same friend, yeah and yell. Everyone is struggling. But with everyone struggling, common sense should say, can I bring in a few more people who know how things are done? But they never do that, right? And so they tabernacle and spend most of their time with the wrong people. At the end of the day, they look at them and their result reinforce their belief. Never forget, their old belief is that this ghost thing don't work. So by the time they see their result, this thing did not work, they just conclude that these things don't work. But we must know that there are nations on earth who everything they projected, they've done. The LGBT is one of those people. Their 50-year plan, I have it. Every timeline, they've met it, right? Japan, every timeline, they've met it. United Arab Emirates, every timeline, they've met it. So there are people who have 20-year plan, 100-year plan, 200-year plan. And that's why if you go online today and Google what will happen in the year 2080, information is there. There are people who are thinking 2080. So if you like, keep thinking Ember month or 2024. Some people have gone to 20. They have gone to the future of your children. So you want to know that the power God has given us, he says he has placed eternity in our heart. The power to live even when we are dead. You can cast a vision for an entire generation, the next 100 years, that even when you are dead, your vision continues to run. We know establishment, organizations that have lived for 203, 200 years. Go to the UK, you see all kinds of systems that have been in existence for 300 years, right? And so we know that the basic work there is for you to first shift your energy and shift your belief. And I think that's the most critical part of the work, because like they say that there is nothing called New Year. New Year happens when there's a new you, because your personality will determine your personal reality. So without a new you, there is the day the new you emerges, that's your new year. Or else the old you will just go with go into 2024. Oh, prophecy. At the end of the day, December will come and you're still being the same person.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pierre, for this explanation. I know that you use the word goal scoring as against goal setting.
Yes.
What exactly? Why did you, choose that? How did you come about that?
Well, you can set goals without, goal setting was what I grew up to meet, right? Then I saw that every sport that is played, until a goal is scored, the team is useless. If you like, be dribbling. Say you are Arsenal. I think Arsenal fans, I'm sorry if you are here, they love to play sexy football. Whoa, our team is playing well. At the end of the season, you have not scored the goal, right? And at the end of your career, nobody counts how well you play. They're going to count the number of medals you have. So I realized that goal setting has been overflowed. And so people are setting goals that they don't have a plan to score. So when I saw that gap, and I'll give a personal story that I've always shared, that many years ago, I stood up in church like every other person, December 31st, I just got very tired. Everything I wrote I was going to achieve, I didn't achieve it that year, so I'd written my goals. They said, oh, rewrite it. We're going to lift it up to heaven, and as I lifted my own to heaven, like everybody, I felt God was speaking to me, and he said, you didn't score this goal last year. You didn't score this goal next year. In the last 5 years, have you scored a goal? My answer was no. I never scored any goal. Then it said to me that, so why don't you dedicate this year to observing the people who are achieving stuff and how they are achieving it, instead of creating another goal? And I think that was the greatest year for me, because I now began to observe, because I had a narrow mentality. So when I read Bible, I read the Bible with the eyes of a Christian. So where the Bible says the hand of the diligent bears rule, what I was interpreting was the hand of a Christian bears rule. Where it says, seest thou a man diligent in his business, what I was interpreting is, seest thou a Christian diligent in his business, right? And so that year, I realized that there were people who were not praying, joining church, joining service, who were scoring, as in they were balling. So I went to study them, ask questions, and I realized that everything they were doing is directly opposite. In fact, that was when I concluded that anytime you see a knowledge on the street that everybody believes in, right? If you walk opposite that common belief, that may actually be the truth, right? Because the truth is not on the street. If it's that easy, anybody can do it. So 7 steps to becoming very wealthy. It's not true. Right? If it was 7 steps, the man even teaching you is not wealthy. He's just wealthy because you think he's wealthy. He appears wealthy because of the poverty, gross poverty around him. When it comes to the reckoning of wealthy people, it doesn't show up, right? And so when I learned that you can set a plan, so you can actually say, oh, I'm going to set a plan. I'm going to go for my master's. I'm going to do a PhD. That's a plan, right? It's potential. Kinetic is when you now move in the direction of that. And so many people don't even know at what point they've scored the goals they set, because after crossover service, give them like 1 month, maximum actually 2 weeks, they are back to default. That's why New Year resolution never works. So I realized that the distance between creating the plan and actualizing the plan is actually goal scoring. And that is not taught. So people do meetings, they tell them, set SMART goal, yes, specific and measurable, this one. And so they do the SMART, then they do party, vision board party. After the vision board party, there is no, you plan to the T's, to the last, to say, this is the way this thing has to be done. Then you create alternative plan. If this doesn't work, what is the next thing to do? Many people never, and so when I realized how teams play, how people win World Cups, I actually literally studied it. I look at teams who are consistent, who are serial winners, like Real Madrid, like Manchester United many years ago. I mean, Ferguson. I looked at those coaches. I looked at what they knew, what they believed, and I realized that they paid attention to every detail. Right? There is a consequence for not scoring the goal, right? They knew what that meant in cash term. For example, if you study the EPL, if you don't qualify for Champions League, there is the implication on your income for that year. If you get relegated, there is the implication, but many of us, there is no implication. We are just okay. So I realized that if I stayed with goal setting, I may not move, right? But with goal scoring, I now needed to create a team that can help me win. I need to have meetings with them. I need to show them direction. I literally need to expose myself, and there is no going back. I need to create a daily plan of what I needed to do, which is my routine and ritual, and I need to do a whole lot more, right, in pushing myself forward out there, because nobody's going to do it for you. And the moment I saw what worked, that was my best year, because I just realized that by half year, maybe slightly above half year, I'd exceeded what I wanted to achieve. Maybe there was just one goal that was outstanding. I had to push it a bit further. And also, I realized that sometimes we underestimate what we can do in 10 years, and we overestimate what can be done in 1 year, right? So we load ourselves too thin. So, for example, somebody is motivated and is going to set a goal, and is saying, next year, my financial goal is 1 billion naira. Question is, how many millions did you do last year? If what you made last year was 10 million, there is no way you're going to do 1 billion next year. I almost know. It's not a curse, except you go and steal, maybe join PDP, APC, and then except you are fronting for something, you cannot. It's possible, right? And so you realize that, in fact, a guy said, oh, my New Year goal is to be a billionaire. And I asked the simplest of all questions: how many zeros make a billion? He didn't know. So if he doesn't know how many zeros make a billion, how will he know when he hits a billion? He doesn't know how many zeros make a billion, right? So it's at mental accent level. The guy, his body cannot even recognize 1 billion. His subconscious cannot recognize 1 billion. So how will he spot $1 billion opportunity? It's not possible, right? So people need to change themselves to grow to become that person, right? And you will know, Ayo, when we started working together, right, that as long as you didn't see certain amount of money earning it, if Ayo didn't tell you that Ayo was going to pick up a job of 180,000 per month, right? And that job, they kept her waiting for, like, I don't know how many months, maybe like 2 months or 3 months. They just kept dribbling and dribbling and dribbling her. The job was not coming. She was sitting down. She was looking at me. And I actually could have hired Ayo at that year. But I saw that she could actually do this thing for herself, right? So one day I went to her house. She made pounded yam for me. I ate very well. Then I sat her down and I lambasted that she was crying all through, right? But from that moment, she just took off, right? And someone who was looking for 180,000 job, right, started doing over 200,000, started doing 2 million, right? I remember there was a day, actually, her husband and herself, they cooked and brought the food from Ajah to my house in Ojodu, right? So the husband was saying, like, I've never seen my wife like this before, right? So if people don't move from setting to, because overanalysis can lead to paralysis, to now saying, okay, with all we have done now, what is the starting point? And that's why sometimes when we did goal scoring last year, it became very clear when we did audits for people that the year must be a year of networking, because that's the biggest problem you have. So stop saying your year of harvest. How can it be a year of harvest when you have not set any goal? So don't let anybody preach you happy. Nobody knows you like you. Your subconscious mind knows you more than anybody. So if you are saying it's my year of taking territory, what territory are you going to take? Really? You are not formidable enough to take it. You are not even taking your own territory, your personal territory. You want to take other people's territory. It's not possible. Except the territory you are talking about is snatching somebody else's wife. Even that one said, you may not survive. So just say many things that doesn't make sense. It makes sense to them because it keeps them happy, but deep down they know they don't have the capacity. If I say, for example, my goal is 2024, I'm going to become a professor. Do I have a master's? Do I have a PhD? So how am I going to become a professor when there are parameters that is set for you to become a professor? Except they are going to, maybe they are going to now dash me professor the way they dash people doctorates in Nigeria right now. Everybody is a doctor. Maybe that's the only way, right? Maybe they are started doing honorary professorship. I don't know, right? But you need to understand that the process of creating the action steps that takes you in the direction of achieving what you have said is goal scoring. And I think that's the missing link in many of the goal setting programs.
Thank you so much, PF. I had to mute myself because I was laughing.
Wow.
I was
laughing. That is so on point. I enjoyed that analysis of the goal scoring and setting the different. That is so on point. Thank you, PF. Ayo, please go ahead. I'm just excited about and I believe a lot of us, this is like a deliverance session. Guys, please pay attention. This is like a deliverance session, and I want you to embrace it. It's not what you will hear ordinarily out there. So take advantage of this moment. Yeah, Ayo, please go ahead.
Okay. When you were talking, you talked about the mental aspects of goal scoring.
Yeah.
I'll just want you to talk much more about that. How important is this, when we are talking about goal scoring?
Your mental state, right, literally is the power to attract what you want into your life. And so there are different levels in life, right? There is the first level, there is the level of learning, right? There is the level of earning. But there's a level called attracting, where at the third level, it begins to happen, right? And I'll give you a practical example. So I just moved house, right? And when I was going to move house, I needed new things. Everything was going to be new, right? And so when I did my final whatever conclusion of the house and everything, and I just moved, right? I think I moved with one bed actually, right? And I said to myself, okay, I'll just settle down and plan to do every other thing. So that morning I was thinking in my mind that in wisdom, a house is built. Okay, so I said, okay, I've fulfilled the first process, wisdom, right? A house is built or a house is bought by wisdom, right? Number two, understanding it's set on solid foundation, and knowledge is what brings about the fittings, right? So I said carelessly in my mind, because when I'm talking, there's alignment between my words, thoughts, and action. In my mind, I said, now I need to activate my understanding and knowledge to do every other thing that I needed. So I walked around the house, said, okay, I need understanding to put all the beds I need, all the furnitures I need, blah, 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 blah. If I did a video, right? So I have the video. If I was lying, you can literally say it. But it was a private video. Then I sat down, then my phone rang. And my cousin called me and he said, oh, Praise, Alpha, said, I do this Airbnb, but but I want to rent out the house right now. So all the furniture I bought in there, I want to take them to warehouse. Can you come around and see what you might need for your new place and blah, blah, blah. So I went in there, right? There were beds, there were chairs, there were, every furniture you need for a house. right? So I said, I need everything. Okay, he said, I've gotten a truck that is supposed to move it to the warehouse. I'm going to redirect them to your house. Right. Now, so if you know how much I had saved, like maybe like $20,000 in there, right? So you need to understand how your power within you works, right? And so some people will tell you that, oh, that can happen in Nigeria. It does not happen. But it's not a respecter of boundaries. It starts with your mind. Miracles happen when there's alignment between your words, thoughts, and action, right? And so you need to understand that the purpose of words is not for speaking. The purpose of words is for creation. That's why when you speak, you create an experience for your recipient. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. So the purpose of words is not just speaking. So you don't just open your mouth and be talking rubbish. It's to create. When people are selling to you, they are creating. They are working on your mind. When somebody tries to get money from you, it's working on your mind. It's telling you, it's trying in 24 hours, something is going to happen, blah, 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 blah. It's working on your mind. The same thing can be done for yourself, wherein you look at what you want, and in your mind, you go and live in that space over and over and over again. That thing becomes you. At the point it becomes you where you can't think otherwise, that even when you open your eyes, you are daydreaming about it, miracles are achieved, right? And so one day in Nigeria, I was telling my wife that I wanted to increase what I was charging. So she started laughing at me. So I said, and that was many years ago. I said, I want to start charging 200,000 for my services, right? And so I went out, I had my daily routine. I went to do, my daily routine is such that way back, it has changed a bit now. I will go out and do my breath control. So I do 5 breath in, 5 breath out, and I'm doing my brisk walk. After that, I inhale 5 times and I say something out like, I am rich or I'm big and blah, blah, blah. Then I do my incantation. Of course, if you have been through Ghost Story, you know what incantation means. Then I do my visualization, which is literally watching a movie of how I wanted my day to play out, right? And so I will watch that. So in my visualization, I saw that as I finished my morning, whatever, right? That a client called me to say, how much do you charge? And I said, I charge 200K for that service, right? And so I finished and I went on my staircase. Last thing I do is to do gratitude, right? The moment I finished my gratitude, my phone rang, and someone actually called to say, hey, Praise, I need this, that, what do you charge? I said, I charge 200K. He said, can I pay twice? I said, why not? Right? So I told my wife, Tosin laughed at me, and she was like, you have started all this with Juju Calabar. The following day, I said to Tosin, I said, I'm going to increase my fee today to 500,000, right? Repeated the same process, I was sleeping on the staircase in the house in Ojodu, and then someone calls me and says, what do you charge? I said, same service that I charged 200K for the previous day. He said, 500,000. He said, can I pay twice? I said, why not? Right? And so my wife was like, what are you doing? Even I became a bit afraid to say, what's going on here? Right? But I began to learn that one nature we share with God is the co-creation nature. But many of us don't believe in our powers enough because we have listened to other people's power that it has drowned our capacity to accept the power that works in us. So he says, unto him that is able to do exceedingly, abundantly, above you could ever ask or imagine, but he didn't stop there, according to the power at work in you, not in your pastor, not in anybody. No, there is any transformation that is not inwardly generated cannot be sustainable because you won't know how to do it. You will have to go back to the man. And that's why I love to teach my mentees how it is done so that they don't need me, right? Ayo is in Canada. If we get on that story, we won't live here. She's producing some incredible results in there, right? That people are wondering, how is this thing happening? So we have a shared nature with God. The first manifestation of God is as a creator. Every human being has the DNA to create. But many of us are not creating because our creative juice is clogged by the messages, confusing messages, contradictory messages, messages that does not speak to your greatness. So for example, Because I know that inside me is where heaven and hell is created, and I want to create heaven. There are messages I will never listen to. So there's some guy who teaches how to spot a demon, how to spot. He has his own market square. I'm not. I don't shop there because what is my business with them when I've not even known God finish, right? And so you need to understand that there is so much noise around, right? And your job is to create your serenity, is to have that quiet moment where you are. I love being by myself because I'm able to see. I see things in flashes and I move ahead to make them happen, right? And so you need to understand that. So some people see, but they don't believe what they see because they need the endorsement of someone to believe what they see. And I always say you can learn from the bad people that you call bad people who you say are destroying your children. Naira Marley, Olamide Bado, they don't sing their song and say, let me go and show my mentor. No, they go to the market by faith and the song begins to trend and you are shouting that, but you have something that you are not pushing out because you don't believe in it enough. In fact, you are giving yourself 1,001 reasons why it's going to fail. But let me say this to you. You see, resources are motion sensitive in response to the fastest finger. If you have seen a motion sensitive door, you know that the door never opens until you move in the direction of the door. So level 1 is to see it in your mind, and level 2 is to move in the direction of it. So we say that whatever you believe is what you behave, and what you behave is what you become. So believe, behavior, then result, right? So you believe it, but you must act in the direction of what you believe, right? For it to become a result. And should you fail, there is no failure. You are better than someone who has not moved, who has convinced himself, because process of failure is gymming. If you have not gymmed for a long time and you go to the gym, I can bet that you are going to fall sick. That's the first thing that will happen to you. Because the process of falling sick, if you have not been to the gym in a long time and you now go to the gym and you now go to a strenuous exercise, is that you have shocked your body. Your body is shocked to say, we are not used to all this strenuous exercise. Where are you coming from? So you're likely going to break down. But you don't now say, this gym that I'm starting today, I broke down. No, that is expected. If you understand that it's part of the process, you now go back there again and again and again, then you are training your body to respond to a new mind. And that's what many people are not able to do because the process of the mind and how the functioning of the mind works, they have not mastered it. And that's why I'm going to say to you today that if you're listening to me, the easiest thing you can even begin to do is to pick a sheet of paper and write the greatest part of you that you can ever think about. Just write them on a sheet of paper, right? So if you say, Ayo is fantastic, Ayo is wonderful, right? Populate your own whatever on a sheet of paper and look at it. Don't even do anything. Just look at it, right? If you look at it consistently and you get to that point where your mind can repeat what is written on paper to you, you have created a new aura. That aura will create a new experience which brings a new reality. Now, so I don't want to go into aura management because that's another thing people need to master, that when you have a particular aura and you can create your own aura, you walk into a place and everybody can be punished, but you go scot-free, right? They will just pick you out because you have a presence. I'm sure you have been to a meeting and somebody walked in and you just felt there was a presence. What the person has worked on is aura, literally, and anybody can create any aura, depending on how you understand this thing. Lastly, consistency, because we have the tendency to start, and when it looks like it's not working, to stop, right? And that's why a lot of people say it's not working. So they revert back. You need to understand that when you want to create the new, the greatest enemy to the new is the present you. The present you is going to fight you to say, we didn't sign a covenant of a new us. Let us just be okay this way. How can I be reading signs of? I told people, read signs of getting rich every day, right? They were still struggling with it. I added the feeling is a secret to them, right? Ayo was doing it. Many people did not do it, right? They will give you 1,001 reason. And I was doing it. I have done it. Sometimes I read 3 books in a day. Yet my life is very busy, right? And in fact, at some point I added the law of attraction to it, right? And so she was reading it. Also, I was going to kill her literally. But you see, except a grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies. It does. This is a scriptural principle. We got it. We don't like the application of it. Anything that makes us look like we're going to die, we run away. Say, then, but we don't know that we are wasting away as we run away, because you now plug into programs that makes you feel like you are doing something where you're doing nothing. So the time you are plugged into those programs could have totally transformed. I mean, Ebon is on this call, so I'm not talking about people who are far away. When I met Ebon, the toxicity that Ebon had was so heavy that when I do sessions with her, I'm literally drained and tired, right? There are many times I say, I don't want to talk to this girl because I feel tired every time I talk to her, right? But I understood where she's coming from. But she's turned the corner right now. When you talk to Ebon, you see her right now and it's like, what? What has happened to this girl, right? And so you need to understand that there is no transfiguration, that can transform you, right? If I give you a miracle, it's transfiguration. It's just transfiguration. You're going to go back to your normal image when you leave that atmosphere, right? And that's why, as much as I love miracles, I believe in process, right? To say it's going to take a process. It's not going to be microwave. It will take some time, but if you do it, right, you will see things that make you feel, oh, I'm feeling better about me, which is where it starts from. Once you begin to feel good about yourself, to feel, finally, I'm a human being, I'm in control. I can do what I want to do, not what they told me, not what somebody told me. Because many people are living based on what someone told them, not what they want to do, right? There's a voice that they hear. In fact, some people, when they're talking to me and they say something, I say, I know where you got this thing from. Say, where? It was this person. You've been listening to this person. I say, yeah, it's true. Because they don't have a personal revelation of themselves, right? And so working on our inner mind is very key, because then you need to uninstall your self-sabotaging software so that you can see yourself in true light, and then you can see the future you truly desire, then you can begin to create it.
Okay, thank you so much, PF. I just want to say something on the back of what you have said. I can remember when I was coming to Canada, there were so many things I heard. Aya, you're going to start from the scratch. Aya, da, 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 da. And I told myself, no, it is not what would happen to me. And I began, initially it was a bit rough, but by the time I came to a point that, this is what I desire. This is what I know is mine. And I began to walk in the direction. I could remember when our daughter was meant to get into school, the first few times we went there, they were like, this, da, 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 da. I just made up my mind. This is where this girl is going to go to, because she had said she wanted to walk 5 minutes from home to her school. It is hers. That is her school. She won't be rejected. It is hers. And that was it. And by the time we went, like 2 days before school resumed on a Tuesday, it was given to her.
Yeah.
It was just when I said, I have my work permit. And the woman said, so you had your work permit all this while? You didn't tell us. That was just enough for you to have her in school. And that was how they were able to have her in school. 2 days. When it came to having a house as well, I told myself, I said, I don't like searching for things. I'm not going to search for a house. And before we knew it, the person I spoke with, got a message and said, oh, there is a house somewhere for you to come into, fully furnished, the way I want it, my kind of taste. And that was how I moved into it. And when it came to getting a job as well, I didn't have to write a letter. I didn't have to write, because those are the things, I hate searching for things, naturally. So searching for house, searching for job, I don't like doing it. And I've heard, while coming to Canada, be ready to write over 200 applications. I said, me, write application. I don't. And I told myself, I have a God who knows where the job is. I just speak to him, and he leads me to where I should go to. And it was just conversation from one person to the other. And before we knew it, the job landed. So it is first on the inside. How is our inside? Like PF said, what is going on our inside? It must surely find expression on the outside. It must, it will. Because God does not fail on his word. And like he said, all these things we are talking about is in the Bible. Can we apply those things? A lot of us are not doers of the word. We don't even know God. We don't even trust him. We don't trust him. We don't. And those are the things that need to change with us. Yes. PF, I have just one question.
I love, before you ask your question, I love the conversation that is going on this platform today. And I'm so excited. This will catapult us to our 2024. And I know that you guys are ready to work on all these things. You see, I was reading I'm reading some of the feedbacks. I think Queen is just giving us it's just giving us summary.
I've been copying
summary of what
summary.
PF. Thank you, Queen. Such a beautiful one that you're doing here. And guys, I want you to, if possible, copy it, because
I've copied them, all of them.
Amazing thing that she's speaking out of PF's talk. And PF said something that our nature, one nature that we share with God, is co-creation. How many of you are using it? How many of you believe it? How many of you see, let us move from time and chance happen to them. Can you experience it so that you can also share? And that is when you can be called a creator, because you would have gone through it and you'll be able to share it. Putting all the principles into play. Can we not just be like, we go to school, we go to church, we hear all those things, but those things are just teaching, they're just information. And you see, knowledge is not power until you apply it. And the reason why we are not applying it is what PF has been talking to us about. We have not experienced paradigm shifts. The whole old paradigm, the old belief of what you're running your life with. It said something that it is your belief, your behavior that gives you results. What are the things, what are the beliefs you're running your life with? You need to sit down and start thinking about all those things. You don't want to do, I said it when we started, you don't want to keep doing the same thing the same way, because you'll keep having the same result. You can't expect a different result. It's just going to be argument, that kind of a thing. So you want to work on yourself. You want to pay attention to some of those things PF is talking about, and Ayo, as it's intentional, bringing her on this show is intentional, so that there are times I see finish now, you're just used to seeing everyone. But if you hear from somebody that is different and you hear her results, can I say I'm struggling to even get to all those results PF is talking about. I know I have made a very good shift, but I am also trying to, but the truth is you will get the results. I know the level I was in 2022 December, and I know the level I'm operating on right now. You see, and I also believe, I said it, at times you struggle with it, but when you pick yourself back, you continue the journey, right? And this is just to let you know that all those things, don't let anybody tell you what to do. Don't let anybody declare the year for you. They are declaring it based on their own experience. Can you declare it? I wrote recently on my Instagram handle that by the time another Bible is written, that's when they review the Bible and you see the book of Ebulomo there, don't be, because I'm going to, we have the book of John, my book is going to be there. You get, and you will be surprised that it will be there, because I know I have what it takes to be there, because I know how much I have worked on myself. Enough of allowing our past affect us. I think Queen said something about we really want to do it, but some things are just holding. I'm just paraphrasing, but I think I saw something like that she wrote. Can we talk about those things here? What does courage mean? There's some people that really want to do it, but they're just tired on the inside. The environment they're not just able to. They just need that courage.
You know that everything we do, so when you hear that your practice makes perfection, my mentor says is practice make permanent. There is something every one of us is practicing that we become very competent at. It can be failure, it can be success, but we're all practicing something. So when people say that I want to do, but I can't do, there is a set of behavior and thoughts that took them to that place. repeated. So, and this is how it works. We all live based on reinforcement. So let's say that I've been told that I'm not going to make it, right? And then I write an exam, then I failed. You reinforce what I've been told, right? And then I try to get a job. Everyone got it. I didn't get it. I used to think something was wrong with me because it was almost as if everyone was getting what I wanted and it was not happening for me, right? So, and if I dwelt on the only interpretation coming to my mind, I would have reinforced that. And that's how people will say, oh, you know, you are dealing with generational curse or all those funny things, right? Now, people need to understand that when you can't help yourself, find someone you can work with. And that's where coaching comes into place. You always have to get someone who can galvanize you and help you analyze what is going on with your life, then hold you by the hand and move in the direction of where you need to go. We all need that person because not everyone can jumpstart themselves, right? If you're already depressed, right, to even for anybody to be telling you, motivate yourself, you will try to motivate yourself, but you can't get out, right? And so little things that can help. So I was working with a lady who was clinically depressed, the first client I ever worked with in America. And, you know, she had a terrible stories, one of the worst stories I've ever had in my life, right? And so I worked with her for 13 days. Then, I told her, I have this thing that works. So it's called human engineering programming, but it works in 13 weeks. And she said, Praise, I'll be dead in 13 weeks. Can it work in 13 days? I said, I'm not sure, but since you said you'll be dead in 13 weeks, let us try it in 13 days. So 13 days, I'll tell her, teach her, she will do what she's supposed to do, and blah, 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 blah. You know, after the 13th day, because she will also come and see me, we'll drive around town, I asked her on the 10th day, I said, can you tell me about your path? Guess what she did? She told me about how she grew up, what her father did, what her mother did, what her people did, the person that raped her, the person that molested her. That was all she was telling me. So I said, how long have I been with you? She said, 10 days. I said, how come what happened within the last 10 days did not show up in our conversation? Is that not part of your past? Then it dawned on her that she had boxed herself into a place where the pain actually was serving a purpose because it means people pity her. And so a lot of people that people say are in pain, they love the pain, even though it's painful, because the pain is the only time people come around them, sit with them, they sit. Without that pain, nobody would think of them. So I had to say to her, the last 10 days, let us look at that past. Then she said to me, Priya, I've enjoyed my ride with you, our talk, our this, our that, blah, 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 loved it. I said, so can you mentally store this as your new past? So she did that. And I said, can you repeat it in your head as your new past? Because the more you repeat it, you know, every time you repeat a thought in your mind, there's a neural wave that moves from the source of the pleasure to your brain, right? And the more you connect it, the more it becomes reinforced. So she did that. Guess what happened? I think on the 12th day, this lady went to her office and she went to tender her resignation. She would never have been able to do that. She said, Praise, this is toxic. They are using me. She went to tender her resignation. Within the following week, she got a new job, better job, like doubled what she was earning, right? This lady went back to medical school. This lady is getting married December, right? And that was someone who was clinically diagnosed of depression. So what people need to do is, one, you need to work with someone who can help you accurately diagnose what is wrong with you, right? Number two, you now need to begin to create a new past. So if I ask you at the end of this session, can you tell me about your past? You know you're not likely going to mention this session, right, as part of your past. Meanwhile, this session is actually your recent past. So you're likely going to talk to me about those. Your past, it must not always be full of pain. It must not always be full of crisis. It must not always be full of everything you did wrong. And what of the things you have done more things right than you have done wrong in your life? I can almost bet it. But because many of the things you did right were too mundane, right? You did not chronicle them in your brain as conquest. For example, you woke up this morning, you wash your plate. Did you celebrate that, whoa, I washed my plate. But if you have broken the plate, that would have been recorded in your brain as, you know, I'm very destructive. They said it, I'm destructive. You broke a plate. But how many days have you washed plates successfully that you didn't break plate? Did you rejoice and celebrate? Oh, I washed my plate today. I ate my food today. I cooked my food successfully. I went to work. I came back to second. Because those things are too mundane. Forgetting that there were people who couldn't even walk when they woke up. So you need to learn to live in the moment. That's why we are called human beings. It's present continuous. Many of us are human past or human thing or human doing. We are not in a state of being. So if you are in a state of being, then you can look back and say, whoa, I went to the beach yesterday. I had the super time. You chronicle it, you replay it, till your mind accepts it as, whoa, your past. That in the future, whenever something even happens and you want to look back, you see beautiful memories that you have intentionally created. And that's why when I talk about co-creation, I'm not just talking about you scoring goals alone. You can script your life, the moments and the memories you want to have with people. You know, I came to a conclusion and I said to myself, I'm 45, right? None of us is going to celebrate none of us is going to celebrate 200 years birthday. All of us talking here, none of us, right? You know, so even if I pray for you and say you will celebrate year 200, you will not say amen, right? So then if the life expectancy, let's even say we're going to live to 100, right? Deduct 100 from your age and ask yourself, how many active years do you have to move around, to go to the beach, to play around, So why would you want to live a day, 24 hours in pain, in regret, and not maximize yourself, love those you want to love, hug the people you want to hug, be in the present, and give yourself the best experience you can give yourself, and not being hard on yourself, right? And that's why I'm going to appeal to you. If you don't have anybody you're working with, please go find yourself a coach that you can work with. Coaches are not cheap, especially good coaches, but you can negotiate with them, right? You can even do barter with them to say, okay, you know what? I want you to coach me. I don't have money, right? But literally left Ilorin. He said, PF, I want you to coach me, but I don't have money. I'll come and work for you in Lagos, right? And I told her, I said, don't worry, I'll pay you something, right? At least to cover your transportation and blah, 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 blah. Many of us, because we qualify ourselves by our bank account, we don't even make the first move. What if the move that you are going to take you is actually free? But you're not going to get it because you're not making the first move. So I'm going to appeal to you that find someone who can help you analyze what you're doing. And sometimes coaches are not always nice. Your coach can be very hard on you. Ask them. They'll tell you, at some point, they actually thought I was a wicked person, right? She thought I was a wicked. She would go and tell people and say, PF is wicked. PF, he want to kill me. But I was saying what she wasn't even saying. She didn't know that the energy she was carrying was not even good, right? And so I was on a net consistently, and sometimes I will hit her hard. But after a while, I'll bring her close again, and I'll explain it to her, right? So don't always look for coaches who does not have the requisite skills to help you, who don't have, because everybody's a coach in Nigeria right now. You know, we love to bastardize something, you know, but you want to work with someone who can help you at a deep level, not do's and don'ts. You know that if you notice in this session, I've not told you 7 steps you must do, do's and don'ts, do this, because I can tell you do and do and do. I know you don't have capacity to do because your meaning has not changed, right? So we need to first work from within to without. How do you think? How do you imagine? What do you believe? Because until those things are dealt with and we begin to uninstall, then it's going to be tough. You will want to do, like the Bible will say that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is very weak, right? Your spirit can be willing, but your mind can be very weak. Once your mind is weak, there is nothing you can do. But trust me, wherever you are today, you can always create the new from where you are. Only the first step will lead to a second. You will stumble, you will fall, but you will rise again. But commitment to where you are going is what is most paramount. As long as you are willing to say, this is where I want to go, trust me, help is always available.
Thank you so much, PF. My next question will make you to give us some do's. I know you said you've not done some do's and some don'ts, but this one will just want you to just share a few things that we can do to help us to be more effective, even as we work on our goals. What are those things we can do? What are those things we can begin to engage in? I know you've talked about routines, rituals. What other things can we do? Part of the things you taught me was meditation. When I first had that, I thought it was spooky. I didn't want to engage in it. I started with one eye like this, and I was watching to be sure whether I will leave my body and go somewhere and come back later. So what are other things that we can do to help our minds, to strengthen our minds, such that we can be effective even as we begin to score our goals?
Yeah, I think someone asked a question about what's the difference between coaching and mentoring, and I think Queen has given a beautiful answer, so I don't even need to go to that. Thank you very much, Queen, for responding to that question. Right. When it comes to scoring your goals, right, the first thing you need to do is to first analyze your last, and please don't plan for 2024. Plan for 2034. I don't believe in 12 months calendar goal. I believe in 10 years, right? Because that will help you now know how to structure your life. So the first thing you want to do is to audit your last 10 years. Last 10 years, where were you? What were you wearing? How old were you? What was your net worth? What did you say you wanted to do with your life? Right? And who were the closest people to you? So if you look at the last 10 years, who were you listening to? Right? Who were the dominant people in your life? What meetings, seminars, what was your frame of mind like? Now, if you audit the last 10 years of your life, then you ask yourself, why didn't you achieve everything you wanted to achieve? And you need to be brutally honest with yourself, right? Now, when you have done that, right, then the next thing you want to do is to now find your own life. No, the next thing you want to do is to heal. Because you will find some of the, now I'm sharing the goal scoring framework with you, you will find some critical things holding you down. It's like every time the plane tries to go forward, the plane is dealing with a force called drag. So what are those forces that constitute drag in your life? Were they secrets? Were they mistakes? Are they even people that are emotional in your life? You have emotional connection to them. They've been around you forever. They're not helping you. You are not helping them, but they're around you. They are draining you, right? So you want to shed the drag. Then every time the plane tries to lift, there is dealing with weight. So what are the weights? Are there relationships in your life? In fact, this is at the point where I tell people, any WhatsApp you have found yourself where you are not finding value, take yourself out. I remember that exercise. Some people left like 20 groups, right? Some people left 10, right? And so when you do that, you have shed all the weight. The next thing you now want to do is to now ask yourself, what is your significant order? If everything you want for your life comes to pass today, what would it look like? Right? If you write it down, you describe the greatest version of you. Right? Then you describe your current reality. What's your current reality? You write it down. If the greatest version of you is 100%, your current reality is what percent? Usually people will say 2%. They are operating, so it means you are operating at 2% capacity. Now, why are you operating at 2% capacity? It's very simple. There is a belief that is producing an action that is producing that your present result. So can we audit your current belief? What do you believe? Who are the people you listen to? Now, so I want to check with you to say, who are the environment that takes most of your time? Once we analyze those things, we ask, if you continue to listen to the people, and I don't care, it can be a pastor, it can be a mentor, it can be, by the time you audit them, to ask, if you continue to listen to them, to believe what they believe, will you ever get to your significant order? The answer is no. So what do? You want to eliminate them. Right. Then you now ask, who are the people you know that are producing the results you truly want, that looks like your significant other? When you have those names, you want to go check, what do they believe? How do they live their lives? What are their actions like? Right? So if they have books, if they have videos, if they have anything on social media, you need to literally make sure that you feed on them consistently, because what you are doing is you are rewiring yourself away from the patterns that is producing your current result in the direction of the pattern that can produce your significant other. Now, so when you do that, you now ask yourself, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Right? So if your dreams can come true in the next 10 years, what would it look like? Once you have answered that question, what your dream will look like in the next 10 years, right? That's your significant other. You now ask yourself, what type of body do I need to live that life? That becomes your physical goal, body goal, body goal. What kind of mind must I have to attain that level? That becomes your mental goal. What level of influence do I want to have in the society? If I achieve that, that becomes your social goal. What level of spirituality do I need and religious involvement? You may get to that point where you realize that I don't even need any religious involvement like that, right? And you need to be brutally honest here. That becomes your spiritual goal. What level of relationships do I need? That becomes relational goal, right? And so it is not you setting goals. It is your life dictating goals for you. That's the difference, right? And so once you have done that, you now look at them and you now begin to create, what are the consequences of not scoring these goals on your life, on your loved ones, on your greatness, on your ability to produce results, and blah, 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 blah. When you are done with this process, the next thing you now want to do is to now do an audit of the people that must be in your life that can help you deliver what you want. Right. And so that's where we do the 11, right? You need a goalkeeper, you need 4 defenders, you need 4 midfielders, and you need 2 strikers, and you need substitute bench, right? Right. By the way, I have a class 2 or 3 day class, maybe later in the year. You can sign up for that class, right? You will learn all these things there practically, and I'm going to be in class with you for two days, thereabout. Now, once you have done that, right, and you have the team, you now look at the people in your life. This is where people usually have a problem with goal scoring, because it suddenly dawns on them that they don't have people in their lives who are producing those results. So they now realize that, there is a gap in my life. So if they had already planned to say, it's my year of taking territory, it's my year of taking over, you are not going to take anything over. So they change it to, what is this year going to be? It's a year of networking, or it's going to be a year of personal development, or it's going to be a year of self-discovery. So all these, I want to be a billionaire, it goes off their radar, because you are not qualified to be talking about you want to be a billionaire based on what is on ground, right? And so once you do that, then you do tactical formation to now say, based on the operating environment, because when it comes to strategy, there are 3 pillars of strategy. Number 1 is your bottom line. Number 2 is your operating environment. And number 3 is your internal capacity. So what do I want? Do I have the internal capacity to achieve it? Then what is the reality of the operating environment where I'm operating from? Nigeria is not America. Nigeria is not a place, if you want to buy a house in America, for example, you do a down payment and then the bank does the rest. Nigeria is not like that, right? And so you want to ensure that your strategy is tailored made for your environment. Now, when you have done all of this, you will now look at your goal for the next 1 year. You now ask yourself, what ritual and routine must I create that can lead me in the direction where I want to go? That is where the biggest problem people are likely going to have, because your routine will not be what you like. It must not be what will make you smile. You think we love to wake up in the morning to be reading Science of Getting Rich and be finishing it? We don't like it. My body hates it. In fact, I hate it. Very boring. I hate it to be repeating the same book every day. I hate it. But professionals do daily what amateurs do occasionally. You don't have to like to jog as a footballer. You must jog. Whether it's in the rain, whether it's in the cold, you must play, right? And so you create your routine. That's why when John Maxwell said the secret of your future is in your daily routine, if we look at your routine, we can tell where you're going. So some of you, your routine is very weak. If I ask you to write 5 or 7 things you do every day, all of you on this call, if you write it down, it will show you where you are headed. It will show you why you are where you are. If you change those things, your body will rebel. But you see, if you sustain it in like 3 months, your body will adjust. It becomes your new reality, right? And so once you create the routine, a new routine that shows your business like, you have already passed the greatest step. So creating a wholesale change, right? Then you now spot your skills gap. Are there certifications you need? Are there skills you need to embrace? Once you do that, you now name your year. What is my year? Based on all the available information right now. Is it a year of personal development, a year of networking, or what year? When you're done with that, you now create your incantation for the year. Incantation is what you call affirmation, but at an intense level where you are very specific about what you want, right? And so I hope I have tried to summarize what you need to do to create a wholesale change. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, indeed, you have. And I believe that even with what you have said tonight, if someone is hungry, if someone is tired, of where he or she is, you can begin to make little change, little adjustment, even from now. And that brings me to something very important. PF mentioned it along the line. We have the goal scoring masterclass coming up in a couple of days. It's from, yes, a couple of days, January 2nd to 3rd. It's for 2 days. And we have, the flyer is already out. And we have the link for joining to already out. Am I correct, Evo? Do we have, okay, no, there's no link.
Yes.
You have to reach out to a number. Yes. So we have a number. I will try and see if I can get it onto
I'm dropping it now. I'm dropping it now.
Are you doing that?
So yes,
okay,
I've dropped it in the chat box. So this is for the participants, those of us on this group. The class is 150,000 naira. But if you're on this call and you can reach this number between today and Wednesday, just give them the code from family meeting. Then you will get it at 120,000 naira. From dreams to reality. That is the theme of this meeting. This meeting comes up on the 2nd and the 3rd of January. You see that it's not just for anybody. Times when people are still saying, hey, Merry New Year and all, that is when we sit down to set the goals that we're going to score. So this is the number in the chat box. The class is on the 2nd and 3rd of January with Praise Fowowe. That is a science of goal scoring. PF will take it deeper. I'm sure you know, when we say 2 years, the template, let me give you a secret. Some of the templates are the templates that even Tony Robbins teaches. And these are the templates that Ayo had used, and she's able to come up to talk this way. I'm also going to mention that there's going to be a free webinar on the 2nd of December. Please look out for, you can check on I am Praise Fowowe admin. Please, do you have the link for the free webinar? There's a free webinar coming on the 2nd of December. Still going to be a conversation on this topic. It's probably going to be deeper because we're rounding up now. And it's going to be deeper. And thank you very much. So this is for the free webinar on the 2nd of December. That's like how many days from now? Please, you are going to do yourself good to join this class. And if you want to take advantage of the discount that has been given to us as family meeting group, you want to call the admin on this number. Just tell them from family meeting, and we're taking off 30,000 naira for you. Please, somebody said, can the dates be adjusted? I'll be on a flight to UK on the 3rd. Oh, sorry about that. You can still register, right? You can still register, join the first day, and you'll get the replay and everything you will need, the material you will need to run the race. And there's
And
going to
you'll be
be
supported too.
Yeah, you have mentors that will run the journey with you. So don't cry, Blessing. Don't cry. Just join us. Just please take advantage of this. I'm sure listening to us this evening, you know that it's not business as usual for all the goal setting class that is being announced, and I really don't know how to do that marketing, but I'm telling you the truth. Just trust me. You're going to have an amazing time on the 2nd and 3rd, but you should also join us on the 2nd of December for the free webinar. Thank you, PF. It's been an interesting one with you. As Aya dropped off.
Yeah,
so guys, this is the last family meeting for the year. And again, happy Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. I want to believe you've had an amazing time. I don't know if we have questions. Do we have questions for PF, or you want to just come to the class? Do you have questions for PF? Hey guys, take advantage of this. Your reality is different from my own. No, take advantage of this. You have PF in the room with us. Do you have questions? Okay, people are saying thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, PF. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the transformation. Yeah, my deliverance started when I met PF, and it's been an amazing one. It's been a beautiful journey. I started my PhD a long time ago, and I'm able to complete it when he sat on my neck to be like, Ebun, you have to do this, And so if you see my name, you see Ebun Fowowe PhD. My own is different from the one they are buying in.
No be
This is what goal scoring will help you achieve, no matter what it is. You see. Thank you, PF, for always. PF, at this point, I want to give you like a few seconds to give your last words, and Ayo, you can take over and. Yes, okay, PF is the best. Shagu said you are the best. Yes, he's the best.
Thank you, thank you, guys. What I'm going to say to you is that, there was an old man. There's a story that someone shared with me. A very old man who was regarded as, the old man was regarded as the wisest man in the village, and a bunch of children gathered and they wanted to make the old man look very foolish. And so they made up their mind that they were going to ask a question that would demystify the old man and make him look like, a stupid man. So they gathered the entire village. And then the boys caught a butterfly. They put it in one end. And they challenged the old man to answer the question if the butterfly was alive or if it was dead. The plan was, if the man said the butterfly was alive, they would squeeze it and the butterfly would be dead to prove that he was a liar. If he said the butterfly was dead, they would release it and people would call the man a liar. So the people were waiting to see what this sage would say. So the man looked up, he looked down, looked up, looked down, looked up, looked down, and he said, my children, that the butterfly is neither alive nor dead, that the life of the butterfly is in your hand. So with that story, I have learned that your life is not in the hand of anybody, not even in the hand of God. The future you desire is in your hand. I have given you all that pertains to life and godliness. I have set before you life and death, blessing and curses. It's your choice that determines your reality. And like Joe Dispenza would say, your personality will determine your personal reality. You don't need to bother about your result, bother about who you are becoming. When you become who you need to become, your result will naturally take the shape of who you have become. So go ahead, work so hard on yourself. Don't fall for cheap thrills. 7 steps, 5 steps, 2 steps. Come for this meeting, come for that meeting. Fast for 50 days, 500 days. Do all these things. Don't fall. You are falling for these things all your life. Please do something new this year. And trust me, you will look back and you'll be grateful that for the first time, you took your life in your hand and you define the future you want for yourself. Thank you, Ebuloma, and thank you, Ayo. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Pierre.
So much,
Thank
Pierre.
you. Thank you.
I
You
think
said
somebody's hand is up. When you're done,
oh,
Ayo,
okay. Yes, we have
Okay.
Nkem
Yeah.
Grace. And we have Blessing Mobolaji.
Thank you. May I speak?
Yeah, please
Yes.
go ahead.
Thanks a lot. Thank you guys for what you do so much. There's so much to do. Really, there's so much to do. So now the question is, where does one start? I attend so many meetings. We're on the parenting platform, on this platform. There's so much. Where does one start? Can someone just say, Ayo, where did you start? I need to hear that. I don't know if you get my question, but it's just what it is. How does one start? Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Do you want me to speak, PF? Should I?
Well, you say, Ayo, I think, Ayo, you can respond, but I'm just going to say to you, we need to know where you are before we can even know where you're going to start from. You can't start where you started or where anybody started. You just have to start from where you are, right? And so the first thing might be to audit where you are at, right? And then you can now, where do you want to go? Because progress is not always forward movement.
Absolutely.
If you have gone on the wrong track and you keep going on the wrong track, that's not progress. It's been wrongly taught. Progress sometimes is going back to default. To look at where did I miss it and where am I going to start from, right? I'm going to respectfully recommend the 2-day goal scoring session for you because there's an exercise that helps you audit your life. You would see your life on 3, it will be clear to you. And you will see by yourself where you missed it, where you went wrong, how to correct it. And these are critical things that happen in those classes, right? And that's what I'm going to recommend to you. But I can allow you to.
No, I wanted to say the same thing, that we need to know where she is at, and then we pick it from there. So it's not where I was, where she is at the moment, then we can audit whatever is where she is and then move on from there. So I just wanted to say the same thing as you said.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ayo, and thank you, PF, for answering the question.
We have a Blessing.
Yes, there's Blessing Mobolaji on the call. Blessing, I yield the mic to you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for this meeting. I actually joined late, but then the part that I missed was very, very helpful. The question I have is that, so I had the first sort of goal scoring or setting experience in 2019 December, when I audited my year, and then I was really displeased with where I was, and then I made a move in 2020, and well, that's how where I am right now. But I discovered that I can't sustain like the drive. So like I said, I wasn't happy in 2019. I set goals in 2020. I was able to achieve what I set out to do. I repeated it in 2021. I was able to do it. But at this point, I'm struggling to keep that drive alive, to keep going. So I know that I have many things I want to do, many things that are in my head, you understand, where you really are just restless. But I'm not able to give it the commitment. I need to commit to get all of those things done. I can't sustain the passion, the drive, the energy. Do you get what I'm saying? I don't know if you've ever been there. So the last 1 year since January this year, when I achieved my last goal, what I really, really wanted, then this thing dropped down so badly that I barely get by every day, because like I achieved it and yeah, it's fine. And then I'm struggling to keep up even the energy I need for that to keep going. So I can't proceed on that. And I'm not able to hit on the other things I set for this year. So I don't know how. I need help with that.
Okay, you could be suffering from, you're a victim of your success, right? And then there are people like that. You know, when I see Nigerians who play football, for example, and you see their potential, you say to them, you know, oh, wow, this guy, no, let me not even use that. When I consult for organizations, right, and you see the potential of the organization, you're telling the owner, the potential is great. This organization can become a conglomerate. It can go global, right? But the man is not seeing conglomerate. The man is just using the business as a funnel to service a lifestyle, right? So there is nothing you are going to say he will by himself, he will just be dipping his money and whatever. So what I think, the question I would like to ask you is, when you were achieving your initial goals, did you have a community around you? A community who are also as driven as you, who you were meeting with regularly to discuss your milestones, to challenge yourself? Did you have that?
I didn't, no.
So that might be why you are a lone ranger, lonely at the top, lonely. So it might be the one that song was written for. You need a community, right? So if you have done goal scoring, and I talked about this is exactly where your defenders are supposed to come in. Yeah, because you are being bullied. Your defenders are the ones who are supposed to put you out back there, right? But you didn't have that. That's why it looks like So I'm going to recommend that you find the right community. Ayo has got community, Ebon has got community. You can join any of their communities.
Yeah, I'm with Sister Ebon.
You are with Ebon?
Yeah, okay. I'm in the Sunshine Hub.
Sunshine Hub is not, Sunshine Hub is a different community for a specific purpose, but that's fine. It's a good place to start, but I'm sure Ebon will guide you into other communities where you can be. For example, there's a community that work out, exercise early in the morning. You know, I get their alerts. I'm rolling on my bed. I'm not joining them because I have my own exercise routine, but they are doing it. It's working for them. I see them. I wish them all the best. I'm praying for them. So basically, you need the right community. I think that's what you need. Because
thank you very much, Pierre.
None of us can run this by ourselves. Yeah. We will always need people.
One another.
And so you always, and that's why he says that, if one falls down, the other will pick him up, right? There are times, maybe I'm one of the people that people don't even care about and ask about me. Everybody just assumes that I'm fine all the time, except for a few people who, compared to the number of people I reach out to annually versus the people that ask praise, how are you? How are you feeling? How do you jumpstart yourself? How do you motivate yourself? Very few people in an entire year, maybe they're less than 10, right? So I have learned to know that at the top out here, right, can be very lonely, but you have to encourage yourself. And that's why I'm creating projects for myself. I am not someone who will achieve. If you know how many projects I have done that are major projects that is not on my CV, I even hate when they talk about it because I moved on to the next thing. There is much more. The reward for hard work is more hard work. That's the way I live, right? But sometimes you always need your people who can challenge you, who can tell you, hey, I do review for Ayo, for example. In fact, she's disturbing me. She's the one disturbing me. PF, come and do my review. I'm checking the numbers every quarter. I'm doing even family review, maybe like twice a year or something. I'm doing their family audit to check, okay, what is happening there? What's going on here? We all need that system. So basically, what you need is a success system, which is a community that checks on you, that when you want to slip back to mediocrity, they challenge you. And I'm going to respectfully challenge all of us listening on this platform. Many of you have stayed in your comfort zone for too long, and I think that's why you have not made a headway. You have stayed on. So when we do the people, some of you, family is what you have stayed with forever. Your families are not running away. So to be spending time with my brother, my sister, my uncle, my auntie, you have an entire world out there of new people waiting for you to connect, but you will never move, right? It's a symptom or a signal, a feedback that you like mediocrity and you hate to explore. possibilities, because limitless possibilities is out there, but it's disguised as rejection, right? But you must not allow what looks like rejection to reject you. He must eventually accept you, right? And so if you hate shame, you hate to be turned down, then you're not ready. You need to make shame your best friend. You need to make no your best friend and keep knocking till the door becomes open. There are 3 laws that govern this planet: ask, seek, and knock. The 3 of them have element of shame. What if I ask and they don't open the door? Won't I look like a madman? Keep knocking. Or you figure out who are the people in there who can bring you in, right? What if I'm seeking and I'm not finding? Keep seeking, right? One day you will find. What if I ask and they reject me? Keep asking. Sometimes when they say no, it might be that the idea is ahead of its time. It might be that they're not ready for it, but keep showing up on the radar, right? And so I think that will help you tremendously if you embrace that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, PF. I just want to say something.
Okay.
Let me just say this. PF said something that you keep knocking, you know, the idea may be ahead of its time. I can remember we started something last year, Laughter in the Bloom Lounge, if you remember. And last year I called on Mark Larry J, but he couldn't show up last year. It didn't happen. But this year I called on him the first time. He answered, and then he now responded on our last year's request that he was available. And I told him, I said, sir, this is 2022 request, but that we still have another one for 2023. And he said he's available. Just to buttress what PF just said, that there are times, you know, we have ideas ahead of its time. It doesn't mean it won't come to pass. Just keep it. At the right time, it will begin to happen. And people will be wondering, how are they doing it? It's because they have learned not to, you know, throw away those ideas. And I'd like to say again, let's always act on inspired ideas. Act. Don't think until you just, you know, forget about it. Act. Take that bold step. It may not be common. It may not be usual, but do it. The people that will run with you will show up. And if it is ahead of its time, you will know, and you show up another time, and you find out that people will embrace it. Thank you so much, PF. I think I'll wrap up on that note.
Thank you. Keep finding, keep knocking, keep seeking. Blessing. I guess you are supposed to move from where you are to another level. That's why it seems as if you're feeling stuck. You might want to, let's talk about this. There's always a shift. When you have gotten to a space, you need to move. I guess that's why you are still seeing yourself in that your small comfort zone, but your universe is expecting you to move to another stage of your life. We'll talk about that. Yeah, I have Omobolaji hands up. PF, please indulge us. Omobolaji, let me have you. I yield the mic to you. Is Omobolaji still here with us?
Good evening.
Hi, Omobolaji. Good evening.
Good evening, well, nice to finally speak to you finally. As in, it's been a very awesome session, and then trust me, it's been very enlightening. I can welcome a lot with what he said, you know, Mr. Fowowe, you know. But my only challenge, I think, is just the fact that, you know, most times, even when you have dreams, you know, for me, one of the most important things I learned this year is value, which means what he said, when he said, like, you raising your value, like, probably you charge 2,500, you know, I learned that recently to know that people would value you, people would place value on the knowledge you have. Do you get? People will place knowledge on the value you have. But you know, I've seen people place value on that knowledge. Probably I have. You know, so that has changed my perspective to, you know, I'm a 95 person, you know, so probably I do some PP on the side, and you know, and I've seen those things. I've placed value on some of my knowledge, and I've gotten value for it. So now my question is, I think my major concern is fear. And my major, and with fear comes trust. With fear comes trust. So how are you able to build trust? And how are you able to conquer fear? I'm not scared of, for example, I've never billed any private clients any amount and the person would decline. Even when I won't bill the person in foreign currency to say, this is what I want to charge you. And the person would not argue. So I know the person is making the profit not to argue what to charge. But my only concern is, how are you able to move past and reconcile? Now, for us, who probably are coming from Sunshine Hub, who have issues of probably separation, divorce, fear, and all those kind of things, to say, how do you move past those scenarios? How are you able to move past to see that? I think I'm looking more for stability, and my main question is, how do you move past fear?
Okay.
Even when you have personal conviction, to know that I know my value.
Yeah.
Do you get that? As you're very right, I'm able to, any group I belong to, I know where I'm not meant to be.
Yeah.
Naturally, as a person, I repel. My natural instincts repel it. To say, no, I shouldn't be here. It's not what I should be friends with. But my major fear now is decision making. The fear to make that decision. To say, okay, now I want to charge you. I don't know if I'm being very greedy. I want to charge you $10,000. I want to charge you $5,000. I want to charge you, So that's where now my fear comes from. There's no amount I call that the other person doesn't feel okay. I don't have issues with what you're offering me, but how do you move past that level to say I want more? How do you move that level of fear to say now this is what I want? This is where I've found myself.
Okay. I think I'm trying to understand the real questions here. Maybe I'll allow.
My question is fear. I think it's just fear. To say
what are you afraid of? You're afraid to charge, or you're afraid of what?
My major fear is rejection.
Okay, good. So you.
Sorry, PF. Let me add to that question. There's this thing about you failed in your marriage, and so there's this loss of confidence that comes, even if you are a first class graduate and you're doing well as a general manager. There's that thing that comes to inhibits you from making the move. I want to believe that's what Omobolaji is going through.
Okay. So if that is the case, so this is what I think. If you failed in a particular area of your life, there are 7 dimensions to a human being that people talk about. Some people talk about 14. Marriage is just one out of the 14. I don't know at what point marriage becomes more pronounced than even your emotional wellness and whatever, but so what we say is that if someone is in a prison or in a dungeon and the person manages to escape from dungeon, the person should feel bad for escaping from the dungeon, right? And it's a societal construct that has messed up a whole lot of people, right? And so if you are out of a marriage, I would recommend you go for therapy, because the framing of what has happened to you is the most critical part of what you have to deal with, right? You can look at it and see failure. You can look at it and say, oh, I made it out alive, and life has given me another chance to make a more intelligent decision, right? But I know that it's not that straight, especially when you now have children. You have to deal with co-parenting and deal with all kinds of toxicity, embedded in it. But when it comes to fear, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, do it afraid. Do it afraid. I do not know of any human being who is manifesting at the highest level who was absolutely sure of the steps they were taking. Right? And for everything we do successfully, I announce to you that there may be 1,000 that people will classify as ideas that failed. Right? And so I don't want you to look at people's magnificence as a definition of, your own failure to now make you, this person is supernatural. No. It's just that many of them do not advertise their failures, right? But they talk a lot about their success. Because I can tell you my entire journey, and you will see when people thought I was a failure, but I knew I wasn't a failure. It was part of my journey. I mean, I think my mom is somewhere around this place. She always joins our meetings, right? And she'll tell you, right? And so there were times all my friends were in Zenith Bank, they were in Orlando, they were in places, and I couldn't attend their meetings, because all of them had cars and blah, 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 blah. If you ask me then, what was I even doing? I couldn't really put it in words, right? But I knew that I was going somewhere, right? And so you need to learn to analyze whatever you are afraid of and ask yourself how real. What I realize that once you subject your fear to the microscope of knowledge, it usually falls flat, right? To say, so for example, you're afraid of the fear of death. Question I will ask you, have you died before? Where is that experience coming from? You have not been dead before. You don't know what it means to die, right? And so it's not even death that you're afraid of, it's what happens after you die that you're afraid of, not even death. So you want to analyze your fear, right? And say, what exactly is this fear all about? Where is this fear coming from, right? What are the systems reinforcing the fear? Now, if I keep getting fearful of this thing, what is it stopping me from doing, right? And if I overcome this fear, what am I able to do? Now, when it's clear what the fear is stopping you from doing, and you see what you are able to do, it changes the dynamics for you. You now look at the pleasure you get by doing what you need to do. Then you ask yourself, what is the first step I need to take in the direction of what I need to do that will deliver the pleasure I want, right? And so in some cases, you might need a partner, you might need a group, you might need a system to work with you to take on the opportunity, especially if the opportunity is bigger than you. However, I must say that you are free to charge whatever you want to charge. Customers don't have a problem paying. They only have a problem. The ease of payment is usually the issue, right? I have a product that is $20,000. I have a product that is $10,000. My clients don't have a problem. The ease of payment is what they want. So someone took my $5,000 product yesterday and was telling me, oh, Praise, can I pay $250 every month and blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking about it. But if it locks in his card, it's not a problem. He will finish paying, right? The same way you want to, if somebody says to you now, oh, pay 100,000 naira and you have a house, you can move into the house and you pay back over 30 years or something, you will take it. So ease of payment. So don't be afraid of your fees, especially when you are sure of the value you are going to deliver on, right? Honestly, when I heard the amount they are charging for the gold scoring, I was almost going to scream. To say, you guys have not increased your price in like 3 years because it's been the same price. And I'm like, what's going on here? Because I don't even do those kind of numbers, but we can't also excessively overprice things. Every time I come for gold scoring, really, it's charity I'm doing these days. That's basically what I'm doing, because if I sit with people on goal scoring one-on-one, it pays me more actually, right? And so you don't have to, let me not say don't be afraid, because you will be afraid of things, right? However, do it afraid in spite of your fear, right? Go ahead and do it. Once you can picture the consequence of not doing what you need to do, right? The energy to do it, shows up. And if you are still struggling, find a partner, someone who you can work hand in hand to take on that opportunity, and that changes the dynamics for you. I hope that's helpful.
Thank you, Mr. Peaceful. I really appreciate your kindness. Everyone, please pardon me for being on the back to respond back to what Mr. Peaceful has said.
No
I have
problem.
gone for therapy. I have gone for therapy. I really understand who I am. I know where I am at. I know where I am going to. So probably right now my standards are very high. That's just me speaking. My standards are kind of very high. terms of what I want, and you saying that I would not settle for less.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to billing, trust me, whenever I'm trying to consult for other people and I give them my charges, they have never really, because I put a personal touch to my consults. Like I'm able to say, I'm able to call you and give a daily update of what you're going
So
through.
what is the fear? What is the fear?
My only fear has just been that fear of rejection. So probably now understand. Let me see my question clearly.
Yeah.
Understand, my own problem is not my own question is not the fear of, I understand money doesn't do it. I understand money is not a money. When you said a lot of people look at things from a way of religion, I haven't passed that phase. I know what it is to you be intentional. And when you said, I'm able to concur with a lot of what you are saying. So my fear is not the fear of money is not. I'm not saying money is not my challenge. I want more. But I know finances. Money is just is a common. It's something you can. Whatever can pay you 20 naira can pay you $20,000. Can pay you $20 million. I understand that analogy. But just my only fear is fear. Probably it's just me speaking from.
So let me ask you. Can I ask you a few questions? Do you have any history of rejection? Maybe from your dad, your mom?
I lost my dad when I was very young. And I grew up probably a child who probably spent more time with himself.
Good.
So I got married for the wrong reasons. So be a house of it, and you understand that those are wrong reasons. So now is the fear of rejection. Most people you really genuinely like. So probably you're suffering from a symptom of abandonment. Probably most people you genuinely like to tell you, I'm older than you. I cannot marry you because you have a child. So you see that. So I think
I get what you're saying now.
Subtle.
So marriage is more a companionship issue to understand people who would say, I'm going to stand with you through all these struggles and understand the main concept of marriage. Who would say that? I think most people don't understand the conception of love to say love and marriage and love is in line with how God, sorry, pardon me if I'm mixing it all up. You're more than I am. Marriage is more of how God loves us. So I struggle with the fact that people see issues and just walk away instead of staying to fix issues. So you're looking for a partner to say, come, let's build. So I am struggling with the fear of rejection.
Okay. So I think that you will need to do a one-on-one session. Because from what you've said right now, I want to run an analysis of your past, of your childhood, right? The emotions that trailed your childhood till your marriage and how you got into that marriage, because it looks like there's a pattern in there.
Attachments.
That we need to analyze in there, right? So it's not a talk of this is what you should do, this is what you shouldn't do. We need to, it's an isolated case that we need to critically analyze, then help you. Most likely we'll need to help you change your aura, and that's not something that we can do on this platform or whatever. So you can work with Ebu on this or work with Ayo Lawrence on this, so that they can, because they need to sit with you and basically analyze what you are describing, because it's not that straight. So it's not something I can give you solutions to on this call, right? Because the symptoms that it shows that you are presenting has a root. Until we do a root cause analysis, you can uninstall whatever it is that you call rejection. And also that goes to everyone. Every time you see someone who says, I don't like marketing, what they don't like is rejection, because rejection reminds them of something in their past, right? And but people can always overcome that. So root cause analysis is what we need to do. Then we can now, based on what we find, they can create a bespoke intervention that can help you. Yeah.
Thank you very much, PF,
Yeah.
and thank you, Ayo. Thank you, Omobolaji. I am glad you're able to open up here. This is to everyone on the call. You know, when we talk about therapy, we know what we're talking about. And while Omobolaji was talking, you know, when he mentioned he had done therapy, what was on my mind is I'm going to private chat him to be like, who did your therapy? You need to go through our own kind of therapy, because it will help you to unearth some of those things. Will take you back to your upbringing. And that's the difference between the therapy we do. You know, when we talk about our own practice, it's different from what you get out there. When we talk about goal setting, you know, I said it here, it's different from what you get out there. And so, Omobolaji, I'm glad you're able to say this on the call. You're able to seek this help, because it's a subtle one. That fear, it's a subtle one, and it spanned back to not now, not even the marriage, spanned back to when you were growing up, and we'll be able to help you to unearth it. Thank you very much, everyone, for staying with us till this time. Remember, if you want to take the goal scoring class, I am sharing the number again. Call that number between now and Wednesday to block your time. We usually have a lot of people sign up, and we try to cut down the number because we want to run with the number we will be able to handle for the rest of the year. So call that number. Omotola will respond to you, and the code is family meeting. And I dropped on the chat. I'm sure some of you are wondering what Sunshine Hub is. Like 2 of the people who raised up their hands mentioned Sunshine Hub. Sunshine Hub is a community where we interact with people who are separated or divorced. And it's a very beautiful community where we interact to talk about everything, as in everything. So you want to join Sunshine Hub, the link is there. You can join the WhatsApp group using that link. Thank you very much once again, PF, for all you do. Please, guys, if you had an amazing evening, can you celebrate PF? Please celebrate PF. I love to celebrate PF because I know what he has done in my life. So I want you to appreciate him and be ready to join the free webinar on the 2nd of December. You can get that. Just check him up. Okay, I think the admin dropped the link. Admin, please drop the link again for the 2nd of December free webinar, and the real class on the 2nd and the 3rd of January. Thank you once again. Thank you, Ayo. You know, I love you. I love you. I love you. Love you so, so, so much. We have actually overshot our time by 13 minutes, and I'm very sorry for that. But I want to believe we had a beautiful time. We had an amazing time. It was a beautiful and eye-opening one, a deliverance session. How many of you believe and agree with me that it was a deliverance session? Yes, this is deliverance, mental deliverance, you know. Thank you very much. Thank you again, Blessing. Thank you, Nkem. Thank you, Omobolaji, for being vulnerable with us on the call. I do not take that for granted, and I appreciate it. Please, you can reach out to me also on, I'm dropping my personal number now. You want to have a conversation with me, just reach out to me on my number. Thank you very much, guys. With this, we come to the end of family meeting for the year 2023. Happy Christmas and Happy New Year. Admin, can you give us a Binizeri Wareo? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know how it is when you set a goal and you're able to. I'm grateful because I have good health throughout the year, and I was able to appear on this call. I've done this for 3 years. So excited about this, and I'm grateful. And I'm grateful to always having you on the call. There's no family meeting without you. And so I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of us that are expecting Christmas gifts from family meeting, admin, don't worry, we'll reach you. Ebolu Ajay, thank you. Ololade Olumide, thank you. Kem, thank you for joining. Buki, thank you for joining. Adish, nice having you on the call today. Ajayi, Adeni, Yemisi, always, Yemisi, thank you for always joining. Zainab, Margaret, thank you. Thank you very much. Tobiloba Grace Maid, thank you. Todunke, thank you for always joining us on the call. Nathaniel, thank you. Admin, can we dance? It's the end of the year for us. Christmas came early. Admin, can we dance? Thank you. And have a beautiful rest of the year. Thank you, Kelechi, Omoteniola, Uduak, Mary Ibru, Juwan, I see you. Temilola, I see you. Mary Ibru, Abidemi, I see you. Admin, I know it's past 9 now. If you can show your video, let's dance. If you don't understand Yoruba, I'm so sorry. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And thank you, admin Kyle.